Have you ever heard of the guy who invented the 100 mpg car? No? Would it surprise you to learn that as far as the government is concerned, he died from a suicide just 4 years later? Or how about the fact that GM crushed all their electric cars from the early 90s? Some say foreign interest groups lobbied the President H.W. Bush to force GM into doing it, except of course they would never admit that.
That's crazy. The government doesn't lie to people.
And how could I forget? The chemicals responsible for the new car smell is the same chemicals that turn the frickin' frogs gay! And now look, coincidence? Hey guys, Stipe A. Jones here with a list of my 7 favorite automotive conspiracy theories. Let's dive deep. Number 7, press cars are tuned up. Okay, this is one of those, well, duh theories, but it has to be mentioned. When manufacturers give their cars to journalists, they usually tune them up in order to outperform their direct rivals. Cheating? It would be if those damned rivals weren't doing the exact same thing, so it's fair game. But who started this vicious cycle? Who did it first? Who could you point your finger at if you had to?
I'll tell you. I don't know.
What I can tell you is that such cheating was happening even back in 1964. That's when Pontiac wanted to show that their new GTO muscle car was just as fast, if not faster, than Ferrari GTO, the race car. To do that, Pontiac phoned Car and Driver magazine and told them to organize a duel. But what Pontiac didn't tell them is that their GTO would be engine swapped, tuned, and upgraded with better brakes, suspension, and whatnot. That, turns out, wasn't even necessary. The magazine couldn't get a hold of the Ferrari because it's extremely rare and stuff, so they just made up some slower numbers and declared Pontiac the winner. And how do we know that that's exactly how it happened? Because the guy who tuned the GTO, Jim Wangers, hit his old man status and started spilling the beans like a drop burrito.
And that happened in 1964.
I guess he didn't want to take it to his grave. As for notable modern examples, Chris Harris was banned by Ferrari from reviewing their cars after repeatedly exposing their cheating methods. And let's not forget that Top Gear Huayra moment. The only way that car was faster than the Ariel Atom V8 is if it had some racing slick tires. Well, would you look at that?
Liar!
Number 6, Boxster is nerfed to protect the 911. Although these days Porsche sells more SUVs than sports cars, when you say Porsche, most people still think of this, the 911. Ooh, she's a sweet little sweet sassy mama. They've been making them since 1964, and after so long, Porsche grew very protective of it. And by that, I mean they will do everything to preserve its sacred cow status, including making the smaller 718 Cayman and the Boxster slower than they could be. I first noticed something was a bit fishy when the original Boxster came out. Back then, Porsche was short on cash, so this baby model was developed to share a significant number of parts with the 911 itself, including the engines. Except those engines were downsized and nowhere near as powerful as the ones that went to its bigger brother. Why so? Could it be because the Boxster was smaller, lighter, mid-engined, and would have otherwise wiped the floor with its more expensive sibling? I say yes, but I just can't prove it 100% yet, but I will. Like, check out the Cayman GT4 RS. RS means as fast as possible, right? Not here. Yes, they finally gave it the same engine as the 911 GT3, but then they took away 10 horsepower. Why? Or also, remember how big of a deal it was that this generation's GT3 got the double wishbone suspension? For some reason, that didn't translate to GT4 RS. Again, why? As a result, the 911 GT3 is still faster overall, but around a very tight and technical track, like the Virginia International Raceway, whoops, right? My guess is that the next generation won't be so closely matched. Number 5, Cybertruck window broke on purpose. Okay, we're going deeper now.
Deeper!
Remember this moment?
Oh my God.
I and many others think that this happened on purpose. It was staged. The doubters would probably say, "Now, Stipe, why would he want to do that? It was quite as an embarrassing moment." Well, sheeple, it did get everyone talking, didn't it? Granted, Tesla's unveiling of a Cybertruck was already big news, sure, but think about it logically. Elon Musk doesn't do oopsies. Like him or not, the dude is way too clever for that. By shattering that window, he effectively saved $500 million on global advertising. Within seconds, every single late night host, every single YouTuber, every meme page, and even your grandma was mocking the broken truck. Okay, but remember that one, right? Even bad publicity is still publicity? That was it! And besides, Tesla's reasoning for why the window broke doesn't make sense either. Oh, it weakened it during rehearsals. Yeah, no, that's not how it works. Glass doesn't follow the video game logic where it has 1,000 health points and then just dies after you deal enough damage to it. Glass is solid matter with bonds between the atoms so strong that they maintain a rigid form. The only way to break it is to hit those bonds with enough external force. You hit it with less, it just bounces off.
Well, kind of throw like a girl.
Lastly, are we really gonna believe this freaking guy? The Tesla Roadster is coming out in 2020 guy? No. This was staged, for sure. Also, did you notice that when you squint, the crack kind of looks like Elon's favorite Dogecoin? Coincidence? I think not. I have to pee now, I pushed too hard. Be right back. Number 4, cars are designed to break. Do you know what planned obsolescence means? It's a business strategy where products are intentionally designed to fail just as the warranty runs out, forcing you to go out and buy another one. So if you've ever felt like modern cars break down way too often, especially compared to those bulletproof models from the 90s, first, you're not crazy, and second, that's planned obsolescence at work. And I'm not just talking out of my ass on this one. I've got some sauce too. Remember how engine parts used to be made out of metal because, those parts can be exposed to a lot of stress, so they need to be strong? Well, now they're plastic. Plastic thermostat housings, plastic intake manifolds, valve coverings, water pumps, timing chain guides, airbags, all high-grade plastics, but plastics nonetheless. And they're all designed to fail a week after you cross that 100,000-mile warranty mark.
Fuck you!
They even got a name for it. Value engineering. But I think I've got a better one. A dick move. There's just one thing. How can they be so precise about it? Well, there's this new tech called computer simulations, probably developed by you-know-who. And with this tech, they can test exactly how much abuse some part can take before it fails. Doesn't matter if it's steel, carbon, titanium, or plastics. And that means as soon as you buy your car, a sort of doomsday clock starts to tick and tock and tick-tock until, hello, sir, we've been expecting you. Like I said, a dick move. Number 3, Colin Chapman faked his death. Tinfoil hats on, folks, because this one's a doozy. The DeLorean DMC-12, as you know, wasn't just John DeLorean's baby. Colin Chapman, the founder and CEO of the Lotus cars, also helped develop it. And the UK government gave $120 million of taxpayer money to open the factory in Northern Ireland and provide locals with some jobs. Too bad it didn't work out so well. The car was a dud, and the whole project was losing money, left, right, and straight into the secret pockets of Colin Chapman and Lotus chairman Fred Bushell. The government quickly caught on and slapped Bushell with 5 years in prison.
It's funny because he's fat.
Colin, who at the time was only 54, would have gotten 10 had he not died from a heart attack just 2 weeks earlier. Well, Fake died and escaped to Brazil, where he changed his name, his face, and maybe got a Brazilian butt lift while at it. I would if I was there, wouldn't you? I just find it a bit too sus that shortly before dying, Chapman renewed his pilot's license and also got life insurance, which left his fake widow financially stable. As for the funeral, it was so rushed that when friends and colleagues expressed a desire to attend, they were told it was already over. You want more? His wife, who was terrified of flying, flew to Brazil the very next year. Why?
Why?
Like I said, sus. Lastly, go read Adrian Newey's autobiography. He's the legendary F1 car designer, and get this, he also claims that Chapman escaped to Brazil. Connect the dots, people. Connect the dots. Number 2, big oil killed the EV1. Okay, listen, I don't know about you, but I don't buy the official story of why GM abruptly stopped the development of their EV1 electric car. Not even one bit. That whole, oh, the tech isn't there yet and it's too expensive, that's just a different way of saying that they stepped on the shoes that they shouldn't have.
I just had them polished.
There's this 2006 documentary, check it out, Who Killed the Electric Car, in which many of the previous EV owners were interviewed. Okay, they weren't owners per se. GM leased the cars to them to test drive, but then suddenly all of those cars taken away, driven behind the barn, and crushed into cubes. Anyway, when interviewed, all those owners pretty much said the same thing. Yeah, the range was crap, but it was enough for their daily needs, and they loved it. It was convenient to juice them up at home, and the instant torque from that electric motor made it fun as hell to drive. They would have happily paid to keep their car, but if they did, they'd be showing the world that we don't need the big oil cartel. And well, the cartel can't allow that. They control the oil through which they control the world. Do you really think they just let go of that ultimate power? Nah, no way. But why, you might be asking, are they allowing EVs now? Because guess who the biggest investors in renewables are today?
All right, I'd like to solve the puzzle.
No, not the Jews. It's big oil. Now, before I reveal my absolute favorite conspiracy theory, here are 3 more that are still left unanswered. First, Princess Diana's Mercedes was tampered with to cause that fatal accident. Second, Ford pulled a new Coke move with the controversial probe just to revitalize Mustang sales. And third, the big 3 sabotaged the Tucker Car Company and doomed it to fail because it was just too good for them to compete with. And now, number 1, Tom Ogle's 100 mpg car. In 1977, a young American inventor named Tom Ogle fitted this Ford Galaxy with a revolutionary fuel system. It vaporized the gas before it even reached the combustion chambers, thus improving its MPG by an insane amount. How insane? Well, that Galaxy had a massive 429 cubic inch V8, aka the 7-liter monster. Plus, it weighed over 4,000 pounds. So as standard, it was doing around 10 mpg. With Ogle's invention, 100 miles per gallon, 100.
Where'd you get that number?
Out of my butt.
No, not this time. The dude invited professors from El Paso's University of Engineering to inspect the car and show that nothing, except for his fuel delivery system, was changed. No hidden fuel tanks, no modifications to the engine. And then he and a journalist from El Paso Times hopped into the car and went on a 200-mile round trip with just 2 gallons of fuel in the tank. And it worked. Soon after, Tom got the patent in a lucrative deal with AFS Incorporated to bring the tech to the masses. Things were looking up until April 14th, 1981, when Ogle was shot in the stomach. By whom? We still don't know. Why? I think we all know. He actually survived the shooting, but then 4 months later, another tragedy. Tom allegedly died from an overdose of painkillers and alcohol. The autopsy, he called it a suicide. Right. Since then, his invention has been ruled inconvenient and dangerous for real-world use. And that was the end of that. Anyway, that's all I dare say in this video. I hope you understand it was mostly satirical, very surface level, and very one-sided. So I urge you, do your own research and don't just take the word of some guy on the internet. Thanks for watching, and a huge thank you to the supporters who bankrolled this video. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. That is, if I'm still here.
FBI, open up!
Oh, shit! Cut!